Hello and welcome to the Providence College podcast. I'm your host, Liz Kay, and I'm joined by producer Chris Judge of the class of 2005. Here on the Providence College podcast, we bring you interesting stories from the Fryer family. This week, we're talking with Andres Heredia-Belliard, a member of the class of 2023. Andres is double majoring in political science and global studies and minoring in business and innovation. As a junior, he was named a Newman Civic Fellow for his work in Providence Public Schools through the Feinstein Institute for Public Service. He also did a Washington semester in D.C. This helped pave the way for a Congressional Internship last summer, also in Washington, as well as one in Providence in the fall. Andres, it's great to talk to you today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us, how did you get started working with middle schoolers in Providence?
Yeah, definitely. I think applying to my freshman year when I was applying to community work study places, I've definitely geared my search more towards education spaces, whether that is nonprofits or schools. I've been passionate about education since I was in high school, so definitely wanted to put that into practice in some way. So freshman year is when I started to fully work with middle school students, especially here in Providence School District. Yeah.
And for those who aren't familiar with it, can you tell us a little bit about community work study? What is that?
Yeah, so community work study is a program here, I think it's in most colleges as well, where the college places you with a community partner. So you basically have a federal work study award that you get through financial aid, and through that you are like getting paid to work either on campus or through a community work study partner. So here in Providence College, we have a range of community work study partners that can be hospitals, it can be nonprofits, schools in the area. So they pair you up with one of those partners and places, and you get paid through your federal work study, and you're providing like service to the community.
That sounds like a fantastic opportunity. And you mentioned that you were particularly interested in working in schools based on your experience in high school. Can you tell us more about that?
I attended school in New York. I went to Cristo Rey New York High School, which is has an interesting school motto. It's so you go to school 4 days a week, and you one of the days of the week you intern basically at a company, and that company takes care of like a big portion of your tuition. So in doing that, I got exposed to like a lot of different fields, and like from accounting to I worked at a hospital as well, and I think I realized that the opportunities I got through that, through those internships, through those schools, were very like important to me. Like I was able to apply to another internship that summer as well. Like when I first started at my high school, I applied to another internship and I got that. And I think I realized the importance there of like education and internship experience. So I definitely started talking more with my guidance counselors. I talked more with my advisors at my school, and they stressed the importance of a college education. And I think that's definitely where I got like my passion for education, because I realized how much education has helped me in a way. I always thought about college, but didn't really think I could go to a place like Providence College, if that makes sense. I definitely wanted to, was thinking more like something more attainable around my area, around my home, where that is. But yeah, I think with that, my education in high school and my internship experience in high school has helped me pave the way here to go to Providence College. So definitely, when I got here, I wanted to give that back in some way. I wanted to give the same resources I got in my high school to students here in Providence who don't have those resources.
And tell us about the work you were doing. What were you doing with the students?
Yeah, definitely. I was a middle school program coordinator for Breakthrough Providence, and there to handle a lot of like the behind the scenes work of the programming. So we do a school year program where students can come in 1 day a week, and we have just a variety of activities, whether that is games or other enriching activities. But they also can come in Tuesdays and Thursdays, so 2 other days a week, where they can come in and just get tutoring experience. I helped build a mentorship program where we paired some students up with like alumni of the program, and that way those students were able to hear advice about going to high school or even going to college, because a lot of these kids didn't even think that far ahead, but definitely did a lot of behind the scene works in like trying to set up the programs, trying to make sure that the kids are arriving on time, trying to communicate with the parents. I did a lot of like the outreach with the parents work, and sometimes I stepped in facilitating some of the activities when we didn't have certain like tutors or facilitators show up. I would step in and teach the activity of the day. I know one time we had it was like a financial literacy class, and I stepped in for that, and we just talked about how to like be financially smart, and how that's definitely something important, especially coming from like impoverished neighborhoods. So how like money is important and how we can build generational wealth. So I remember we taught like a little class like that for the students, but most of the work I did was behind the scenes. A lot of like just outreach to parents and making sure everything ran smoothly.
So you definitely said that your experience in high school kind of inspired this passion for you for education, but I noticed you didn't say you were an education major. So tell us more about what you're hoping to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody have asked me before if I wanted to be a teacher, and I didn't want it to be a teacher. Although my experience at Breakthrough Providence facilitating and tutoring were very beneficial for me and the students, I think that's also where I realized I didn't want to be a teacher. I think my role is more behind the scenes. Through that, I realized I can make a bigger impact through policy. So that's why I'm a political science major. I think my goal is to work on education policy and more of the behind the scenes work on how we can make like education more equitable for all students.
And now you've gotten this great opportunity through the Newman Civic Fellowship. What's that been like so far?
Yeah, definitely. The Newman Civic Fellowship has been a very great opportunity to connect with other like student leaders around the country. The Newman Civic Fellowship is a kind of like a fellowship where they choose student leaders around the country who have done some type of work in their community, whether relating to social injustices, education equality, prison reform. The list can go on, but they take these students who have like done important work with social change around the country, and then they try to support them in a way where they can build their own project or build a new project through that year they have the fellowship. And with that, they have a conference in Boston each year, which I just attended last week. And we were able to connect with other student leaders to see what the work they were doing and how they were implementing it in their schools and communities, which is very cool. And then we got to listen to other speakers who graduated from the program and to see what they do now and how they're making change now outside of like their school communities.
Excellent. Well, that seems like a great follow-up from your spring semester in DC, and then again all the work you've been doing this summer and fall. Please tell us about your Washington semester. What track did you take at American?
Yeah. My Washington semester program was amazing. The track I took, I believe, was foreign policy. Yeah, we took a track in the semester program, but I felt like I did so many other things, so I didn't really focus as much on my track. But yeah, I think I focused on foreign policy and globalization. So I took a few classes on globalization in crisis and how globalization can will affect our world now and in the future. So I took classes on that. And yeah, I think a big portion of the program is where I was able to have an internship. So I worked at a lobbying firm. My first internship was where I worked at a lobbying firm on the Hill, where I was able to introduce to a variety of clients. One of our clients was telecommunications. We had clients in defense. I think it was from all over the places. But yeah, we had a few clients in different in the diverse array of fields. And I was exposed to the legislative process there and how lobbying can affect policies and how lobbying for certain companies can affect certain outcomes. So that's where I focus a lot of my time there during the program was my internship and in the classes I took as well with the professors. We also have an internship class where we had a professor, but more like a mentor, and he kind of guided us got us in the right way of what we would do after college, whether it is grad school or the workforce. But that was a really interesting class to have where we got to have a mentor in American.
And then how did you transition to the other side when you were working in the Congressional Internship? Originally,
I wanted to work for a Congressional Internship. So when I got the lobbying position, it was very different for me because I wouldn't say I was fully passionate, but I definitely wasn't something I was looking for. It kind of just fell on my lap, and I took it and I ran with it because it was a amazing experience. I met really cool people. I met really insightful people. But I think transferring to the other side of the congressional internship was what I wanted and what I needed. Is definitely what I wanted to work for. What I wanted to work hopefully after graduation. So I definitely was always prepared to transition to that side. It was a lot more, the work, I wouldn't say it was easier, but the work I did was a lot more fulfilling for me. I was a lot more passionate about the work there. I did a lot of work in terms of immigration, education, which is something I'm very passionate about, as I've talked before. So the work was a lot more fulfilling, and I was able to put all my heart into it. Like, I spent so many hours in the internship, and just because I enjoyed the work there, and just because I enjoyed talking to the people in my internship. So it was definitely a more easier, I wouldn't say the work was easier, but for me, transitioning was more easier because I loved the work I did there.
And whose office were you working in?
I was working for Congressman Adriano Espaillat. He represents New York's 13th district, Congressional District. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And this fall, where have you been working?
And then this fall, I'm working for Congressman David Cicilline, who represents the 1st District of Rhode Island.
Awesome. And so will you be continuing that in the spring?
Still debating. The spring is an interesting time for a senior, so still trying to see what my best course of action would be. I would love to continue the internship because the staff there is amazing. But yeah, still have to figure out my classes, and I have another job as well, so I want to figure that out. So that's still in the air right now, but I would love to return for the spring. So let's see.
Well, we are talking in mid-November, which is basically course registration crunch time. When you think back, your 6 semesters at Providence College, because you had your semester in DC, what have been kind of the highlights for you? What have been the classes that you feel have really affected your path?
Mm-hmm. I think my global studies classes have done a lot of that, kind of affected my path. Let me see if I think one of the classes. I'm currently taking an immigration course right now with Heredia-Belliard, and I find that to be a very insightful course, and I think also a course that ties into what I want to do in the future, whether it is with immigration policy. But yeah, courses like I've taken in global studies, I think I have opened my eyes a lot, not just because of the course material, but because of the professors I've taken with. I think both global studies and political science have amazing professors, and they open your eyes to a lot more that reading a text won't. So I've had amazing professors like I said, Heredia-Belliard, Natasha Scruggs, Nick Longo, and last year I took a course, my research methods course with it was with Joe Camerano, who was the chair of the policy department, and Casey Stevens, and I talk about these courses more because of what the professors brought to the table. I realized that these professors have great amounts of experience before Providence College, and it's really interesting to see how they bring that here to PC to share with the students. I think the most I've learned in a class is with a professor simply telling us about their past experience or the stories of the work that they've done, which they've all done amazing work. I know one professor specifically, Jim Till from the Global Studies Department, he works on a farm. I think he mentioned how he worked on a farm and he tries to live off the grid sometimes, and he wants to build a more sustainable life. But just hearing stories like that, it kind of inspires you to want to make change and do better, because a lot of professors I've met in global studies and political science are just change makers. They're just really trying to make the world a better place. And although it sounds cheesy, it's it kind of inspires you. So I definitely feel my professors here at PC have definitely been a big part of my education here. That's wonderful.
Are there other experiences you feel really kind of shaped your experience?
Yeah, definitely. I feel the clubs on campus and the some of the other things I've been a part of. I know my freshman year I joined Horizons, which is a multicultural club we have here where we kind of build community with a lot of the students of color here on campus. And freshman year we went on a retreat. They do this every year with the new freshman mentees. So their freshman mentees are paired up with upperclassmen mentors. So we did that during the freshman year, and that was a very nice and eye-opening experience, because we had upperclassmen who've been here in the school for more than 1 or 2 years, and they were able to tell us how to navigate Providence College, especially as a student of color, especially just first generation, which a lot of the students who were in the program was with. I'm first generation, so coming to college was a completely new experience that I couldn't talk to my family about. So, programs like Horizon definitely open a space where I can not only talk about that, but also just receive advice and just try to acclimate better on campus. So I definitely attribute a lot of my success here at Providence College to a lot of the programs I've were part of, whether that is Horizons, Transitions as well, which is a pre-orientation program I've done before coming to PC. I think that's also where I built a lot of community here on campus through those clubs. And even being part of BMSA, which is the Board of Multicultural Student Affairs, has helped me a lot. Attain those relationships and just try to promote more diversity on campus and create events that students can come and be more engaged with each other. I think has shaped a lot of my experiences here at PC. Mm-hmm.
Now, Andres, you mentioned being a first-generation student, and the college just recently celebrated First-Generation College Student Day. We were asking everyone to provide advice for other first-generation students. What advice would you share with others who are coming behind you?
I think college is it's a good experience because you have a lot of different, people your age around you, but sometimes it gets overwhelming when you're trying to compare your experiences to other students on campus. So, and especially as a first generation student, your experience would be different, and that's one thing I had to realize. Like, it's okay, my experience will be different, but I will make my own. I will take account of my own experience, and I want to kind of like conquer my own experience. I think that's the biggest thing. Is like I want to be the person in charge of my own experience, like, and pave my own way. I think it's very important. I think I would tell that to any first generation students here who are coming not just to Providence College but to any colleges that you might struggle, but just remember that like you need to pave your own way so that you can leave a legacy for your future children and kids. I think that's the biggest advice, is that it's okay to pave your own way, and it's needed, honestly, just to like break that barrier.
And you mentioned earlier that you never thought you'd be able to come to a college like Providence College. I'm curious, both A, what you meant by that particularly, but also, so what led you to Providence College then? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I think one is money would be a big thing. I think, I come from a single mother household. So it was definitely, when I was looking into college, like money was a big thing, and she stressed how like she wanted me to stay local because of how expensive it would be to go to a college out of state. So that's one reason why I didn't think I would go to a Providence College. But again, going back to my high school experience, the support I had there, and which is like what brought me to be passionate about education, it was immense. The support I had there was amazing. One of my college counselors / advisors actually was an alumni at Providence College, and she put this on my radar. My radar was really it wasn't really on my radar until she told me about Providence College. So she told me one day about the program, and how in a few weeks, which is funny because it's today, in a few weeks there was a program coming up called Pathways to PC, which is happening right now, and I just came from, which is a program where we bring high schoolers, seniors and high schoolers who come from multicultural student backgrounds. We bring them on campus and kind of get them, a tour and kind of get them a feel of campus and stuff. So we provide them with activities, and they usually stay overnight with the host, and that host just like, they go throughout the host's day. I'm trying to see the right word for it. They kind of mimic what the student here at Providence College would do. So they would go to class, go to activity, go to club, and there's panels usually in the end. And I did that program here at Providence College, and I think that's when I kind of like really fell in love with the school. I think I saw how beautiful the campus was that day, and I saw that how like it can be a possibility for me coming here. So I went back to my guidance counselor the next day, and I told her, we like the campus, and she told me to apply, and I told her, but it's very expensive, and she said, don't worry about it, like we'll figure that out. So I applied, and I got in, and I'm very grateful that financially was able to work with me and provide me a good package where my mom was able to afford it, and it wasn't going to cause so much stress on her. So definitely, again, through my support in high school and through the support here at PC, I think I was able to come here. There was that. I want to give tribute to one person. I think her name was Amy. I'm not sure if she's still here. She's working in alumni relations, but she made sure I got a good financial aid package, and she made sure I came here. I've met her a few times throughout the years, but each time I always tell her you're the reason I'm here. So definitely want to say that.
Well, I think we're all glad that you made that choice. Thank you, Andres, for coming here. So you've mentioned a few things. You've definitely talked about education being your passion, but and also immigration policy. So I'm curious what you're thinking about for postgrad.
Yeah, postgrad. That's a very good question to ask, and a very daunting question to ask a senior. Postgrad, I definitely would want to return to DC or New York. I'm either thinking of working in education policy, community development, which is something I'm also passionate about, or immigration, as I mentioned. And I'm looking to go either in the public sector or the private sector. So public sector would be nice to work under a federal agency, whether it be Congress, Department of Education, or Department of State, or in private sector. I'm open to working in nonprofit, in the nonprofit sector, or in consulting. So I gave you a lot there, but I'm still debating. But hopefully, I think the goal is to try to make it to the public sector and try to work again in Congress, to make changes through there to policy making. Mm-hmm.
I think the good news to take from all that, you just listed off a lot of things, but it means you have a lot of choices and a lot of different avenues you can take. You're not narrowed, and hopefully that means that like you'll have your choice when the time comes to pick what you'll be doing.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I think like with my majors, it's one thing can be a pro and a con is that it's very broad in a sense, political science, global studies, but you, like I said before, I kind of can pave my own path, which is the really cool thing about it. Like, I can make my own way. I can do what makes me happy. That's honestly what I'm looking for. A job that makes me happy. I'm giving back to the community, and it's fulfilling. Mm-hmm.
Well, Andres, it's been wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Subscribe to the Providence College podcast in all the usual places, including iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify, as well as your smart speaker. If you like what you hear, please review and share with others. Thanks for listening, and go Friars.